Well, the iconic character that built the House of Mouse is now up for grabs.
After 95 years, the first appearance of Mickey Mouse goes into the public domain. We'll explain what this means for the classic character.
Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 a.m. starts now.
Well, it's 2024 now, and Disney's copyright on a couple of iconic characters about to expire. They have expired officially now. And as of today, the first versions of Mickey and Minnie Mouse from their 1924 debut cartoon, Steamboat Willie, have entered the public domain. Now, we recently saw this happen with Winnie the Pooh, and it led to some interesting takes on that famous character. So we want to just kind of talk about the impact here and explain what it means. To do that, we want to welcome Professor and Patent Attorney John Rizvi. John, thanks for being with us. First of all, talk to me just about how significant this is.
Oh, so this is incredibly significant. I mean, it's the iconic, when you say an iconic character, what could be more iconic than for Disney, than Mickey Mouse? But also the Steamboat Willie version, which is a version that they use throughout their marketing and branding. After 95 years of copyright protection, it's coming into the public domain. So anybody will be able to use this without having to license rights from Disney.
When we saw Winnie the Pooh, we saw that there was a Winnie the Pooh horror movie. So clearly, people can take these characters now and use them in all sorts of ways. I don't know if you are familiar with the show Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, but they've been flirting with this character, and now they've created a mascot. And basically, he comes out once in a while and flips people the middle finger and to show that this is what you can do now. But for years, Disney was dead set against releasing this, and I believe 20 years ago got an extension. So they're not going to like what happens here, I would think. Is that right?
Yeah, so there's a lot at risk. I mean, certainly the image of Disney. I mean, as you mentioned, anything can happen with these characters. They're in the public domain. There's no restriction on, like the Winnie the Pooh movie. Was a horror, like a slasher movie. Where all of Winnie the Pooh's friends went feral and started eating one another. So if you can think of the possible risk and damage, like that's a possibility. The key thing to remember, though, is that Disney is not relinquishing their trademark rights to Mickey Mouse or to Disney. So to the extent that competitors can be seen as confusing consumers as to the origin of a movie or piece of merchandise, that Disney is going to be able to protect. But certainly nobody's going to be confused if there's a horror version of Mickey and Minnie thinking that came from Disney. So they are not going to be able to stop that, and that's a big part of what Disney has at stake. In addition to huge loss of potential licensing and other revenues, because no one's going to have to pay to use the original Mickey Mouse or Minnie Mouse characters.
Yeah, and you make an interesting distinction there that this is the original Mickey, basically the black and white Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse, and I believe you hinted at it, but Disney re-trademarked a later version of these characters, right? So the more modern ones that we're familiar with are not going to be able to be used in these ways.
It's not like we have a ton of additional time. So there's a modern version of Mickey Mouse, and that's the one a lot of the younger generation would identify with. It's the Mickey with the red shorts and the white gloves. And if you go to the theme park, that's the character that you'll see there. But that's expiring January 1st of 2036. So we have maybe a dozen more years before that version goes into the public domain as well. But the trademark is different. The trademark is the branding, and the branding for Mickey Mouse is not going in the public domain, but these characters certainly are going to be available. This is really the start of several characters. We've seen Winnie the Pooh go into the public domain, but there's Bugs Bunny, Bambi, Peter Pan, many more characters to come in the coming years. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens and how, what others do with these characters, because there is no longer an exclusive monopoly that Disney will have.
John, thanks so much. John Rizvi, for sharing your thoughts with us this morning on just where this is all going to go. We really appreciate it.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.